Matthew Stafford, but he's confident in the adjustment. Here's what he told the LA Times about going to LA. Different scenario, but even Tom Brady last year, going to a new team and a different coach and a new way of doing things and having success. That's something that makes you feel good after you make a decision to move on. Seeing Brady's success surely makes Stafford happy with the move, but upgrading the team around him also likely plays a big factor. Stafford leaves behind a team in Detroit that ranked in the bottom of the league in rushing, on defense, and in pass block win rate last season. Yikes. And with the Rams, he joins a team that ranked top 10 in all 3 areas, including the NFL's best defense in 2020. All right, and that's all great, and certainly the pieces are around him to be successful. But Damian, I ask you this. Is Matthew Stafford under the most pressure of any quarterback in the league right now?
Hell yes, he is. We've been talking about Matthew Stafford being with the Detroit Lions organization and the fact that basically the organization has been holding him back, and he's been putting up gaudy stats, gaudy numbers. You know, we've talked about all those things as it relates to Matthew Stafford. But the one thing Matthew Stafford hasn't done, really, is win. He hasn't been a winner in the National Football League. Now he goes to the Los Angeles Rams. Okay? He has Sean McVay, guy who's a coach who's a young offensive mind who's been to the Super Bowl. They got a bunch of weapons on offense all around him. They got a defense that was #1 in the league last year. So there are no more excuses for Matthew Stafford. And I know Dan Orlovsky probably watching somewhere. He's because he's like the #1 cheerleader for Matthew Stafford. And I'm just here to say, listen, I don't want to hear a damn thing from Dan Orlovsky as far as an excuse for Matthew Stafford this year, because to me, it's nothing but Super Bowls for the Los Angeles Rams moving forward.
Now, Damian brings up a good point. A lot of pressure on Matt Stafford. But can I also say, you mentioned all the reasons why the Rams are such a good team, and Matthew Stafford is just being the added piece. But what about Sean McVay? Has he not had a lot to work with? Since that Super Bowl, he was built up as that baby genius, right? What happened when he faced the real veteran genius in Bill Belichick in that Super Bowl? Belichick made quick work of him and the Rams. So I completely understand and I agree with you that Matt Stafford has a lot of pressure on him. But I think over the years, Sean McVay has skirted a lot of the blame. It's clear based on the moves, getting rid of Jared Goff, sending him to Detroit, that the Rams felt like the quarterback was really the issue. We're going to see this season if that's the case, because Sean McVay hasn't done anything with a really good roster.
Yeah, the Rams are about as close as you can be to being all in the NFL. Of course, they traded 2 first-round picks in this move. They don't make a first-round pick again until like 2049, which is a good reason why we should bring back in Mel Kiper Jr., the man who will never have to analyze a Los Angeles Rams first-round pick. Let's take to some quick reads, Mel, and tell us, if you were these teams with rookie quarterbacks, when would you be starting them? We're going to start in San Francisco with Trey Lance.
Never, but he would play a major role with Jimmy G. He would be coming in like Lamar Jackson did with Joe Flacco. He rushed for 1,100 yards a couple years ago at North Dakota State, 14 touchdowns. Getting him acclimated that way. If Jimmy G gets hurt, he's ready to go because he's already played, and those teammates know what he can do. Coming from the 1AA level with only 17 starts, perfect scenario. Get him on the field right away as that accent piece with the 49ers. Justin Fields, you could do the same thing with in Chicago because of his running and skills and that athleticism. Then if Andy Dalton falters, maybe it's in week 4 against the Detroit Lions. Maybe week 5 at Las Vegas. If Dalton's not getting it done and you're losing games, you know Justin Fields already on the field again. Same scenario with Trey Lance. He would feel more comfortable. His teammates would know him a lot better. Mac Jones, to me, is different than the other two because he's the guy, he's the pro-style pocket guy, the Brady type. Cam Newton, arm strength isn't better, accuracy doesn't improve, then you can go to Mac Jones. You don't want to go to him week 4, Tampa Bay, New England. You don't want to do that. But week 5 at Houston could be the spot for Mac Jones, or maybe even in week 1 if Cam Newton's not a lot better than he was last year. But Mac Jones, to me, cerebral. He'll get the offense down whenever he's ready. I think it's within the first 5 weeks if Cam Newton's not getting it done.
As we know, quarterbacks that are rookies are always under a lot of pressure to start soon, if from nowhere else other than the fans. But Damian, if you were looking at those players that Mel just highlighted, which one do you think has the best chance to start ASAP?
Man, I'm tending to lean toward Justin Fields. Listen, it's make or break time in Chicago. It's make or break time in Chicago. Andy, Kimberly, you can't throw Andy Dalton out there and think that's going to get it done if you're Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace, okay? That's not going to get it done. Listen, if you're going to go down swinging with your guys that you moved up to go infuse this roster and infuse this offense. So Matt Nagy, he was supposed to be a guy that knows how to work with quarterbacks and get the most out of the quarterback. This is the most talented quarterback that he's had since he's been in Chicago. Go out there, put him out there, make it happen.
All right, listen, Damian, I've only been at ESPN about 15 months, right? But I know not to disagree with Mel Kiper. Mac Jones is the quarterback who should start first out of all of them. And I hear you on Andy Dalton. I hear you, brother, especially because they said he was QB1, and that changed real quick. But my thing is, if you're going to draft a QB in the first round, like, your job is to develop him, and you need to make sure that he's ready. No knock against Justin Fields, but it's about his development. It's not about Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy trying to keep their job. That's not fair to the kid to throw him out there before you know he's ready. Is he better than Andy Dalton? Will he be better than Andy Dalton? I believe so. I think we all agree. But just because they need to go down swinging doesn't mean that you should just throw him out there because Andy Dalton's not that great.
Yeah, Kimberly, I'm with you. As far as Andy Dalton and the situation there, could this be Alex Smith with Patrick Mahomes? But the difference is, I think they can get Fields on the field and let him play and be that accent piece, like I say Lamar Jackson was in Baltimore. Same thing for Trey Lance. And if, in fact, Andy Dalton's not getting it done, that Week 4 game against the Detroit Lions at home, knowing you got the Raiders the following week on the road, that's a spot to get Justin Fields in for good. He's no longer an accent piece. He's the man, and you never turn back once he gets the reins of that football team. But they can get him ready and feel like the offense is a lot better with that dual threat complementing Andy Dalton. My thing is, guys, if Andy Dalton falters, then you go to Justin Fields. I think they want to have that happen a little more quickly than maybe some people think if Dalton, like I said, isn't winning football games because they feel like they're a playoff team.
Hey, Mel, wasn't the Chicago Bears the same team that tried to trade for Russell Wilson this offseason? Almost pulled that trade off. And now they're going to fall back to Andy Dalton? You think that's who they want to roll with? I'm just not seeing it. I'm not seeing it.
He was a decent quarterback, Damian. You know, he was a guy got that team to the playoff. Plateau quarterback who needs a lot of talent around him. But I think the Alex Smith, Mahomes blueprint is still there. The quarterbacks have had great success, did sit as rookies. So there's always that tap dance. You always are tempted, but it really depends upon how they're playing. I just think with Lance and Fields, the ability to get them on the field and acclimated as that dual threat change up to what you have with your starter with Dalton and Garoppolo is the way to go. Whether they'll use that as a way to incorporate these guys as rookies into the NFL, we'll see. It's going to be awfully fun and entertaining to watch and see how they play it out.
Well, patience can be a virtue, but coming up next, we're going to hear from a quarterback who learned through trial by fire as a rookie, as Peyton Manning, who had like an NFL record for rookie in terms of interceptions, says that Aaron Rodgers should stay with the Packers. But could Rodgers follow in Peyton's footsteps and eventually swap teams?